So my experience growing up in Richmond it was interesting, I would say, mainly because like most of my family is from Richmond. The interesting thing about that was that it always felt like a very close family, like close community for me. It just felt like, there were just so many extensions to my family just from being in that area. And I grew to appreciate that as I got older because, as things start to happen, because obviously, like Richmond, California it's notorious for certain things. And for me, as I progressed in, sports and moving on to other educational opportunities, the community felt like it would come together to support me in many ways. There were times and trials and tribulations that just were associated with it, and you had to figure out how to make things work and how to stay out of trouble. That determination to like see things through because like it matters to people where I'm from. So growing up, like my role models were athletes and my dad. That was just what you would expect from a young black male coming from a not so well off place or a pretty decent place. Grow up and be a football player. I wanted to grow up and be an athlete. I always joke around that like if I liked the sound of my voice, I would have wanted to be a rapper. Those are the things that inspired me. Allen Iverson, Michael Jordan, like that was it. It wasn't until I got older that I actually got the opportunity to interact with black physicians, with physicians or just any sort of scientists that look like me. And I would say, quite frankly, like I didn't get to have those experiences until I got to college. When I started to look at exposures that other people have had when I got to college, I was like, oh man, like I've been living under a rock essentially. It hasn't necessarily been so much the role models or the mentors that I've had that have really influenced me. It really has been the support for me to just go against the grain in some ways, where I had this idea to just, everybody's trying to be an athlete, everybody's trying to do this. I just want to see what this whole science thing is about. I want to see this whole technology thing is about. As I've gone through that path, I have found role models and I have found mentors, but it wasn't growing up. Yeah, so one of the most influential people I would say in my journey to go into healthcare has been my grandfather. I started to see his health decline. It went from me growing up and seeing this person that has, been in the military, has done all these things start to shrivel away. And, it's really hard to come to terms with that or really figure out what to deal with that. The interesting thing about it is that when I started to understand the effects of disparities and social determinants of health, one of the key numbers that really stood out to me was that black men in America would be fortunate enough to live past 70, and he passed away at the age of 71 or 72, and it really just made those numbers very real because he lived in the house that he passed away in for decades, and right across the street was Kaiser Hospital, and the very fact that he was in such close proximity to a hospital, and it didn't contribute to him living longer. If access doesn't equate to proximity, then what does access equate to?